Ralf Rangnick has left Manchester United. His consultancy role at the club has been reportedly scrapped by Manchester United. James Ducker reporting today. And to anyone that understands the way Manchester United Football Club is run, anybody that thought for 3 or 4 seconds about the news that came out when Rangnick was announced as a new Austrian manager could see this coming. This should not be a shock. This should not be a surprise. This should not be something that has caught you off guard. The fact that he was only offered a 6-day-a-month consultancy role, the fact that he was allowed to pursue managerial opportunities elsewhere, the fact that barring, I'm not even going to name the journalist because everybody gets annoyed, barring one very prominent tier one who consistently pushed the notion that Erik Ten Hag was recommended by Ralf and loved by Ralf, and Ralf was involved in the process. Most other journalists said that, echoed what Ralf told us in press conferences, that he's not involved in the process, that nothing really is happening. Now, it depends on what publication you read. I've gone with James Ducker because he broke the news, but I'm reading all different reports. Erik Ten Hag doesn't want him. The club didn't want him. Actually, Ralf wants to leave himself because his new job is going to be too demanding. And I think there's an element of truth in both of these things. I think there's an element of truth, all three of those things. I don't think Erik Ten Hag's overtly keen on him. I don't think Manchester United want to keep him at the club, especially with the way he's called them out. This is what happens. You call out Man United, they don't want you anymore. And the fact is, he's got a full-time job now. He's managing a goddamn nation. Of course he wasn't going to stay. Now, everyone's going to have a different stance and different viewpoint. Some will think, I don't even think Ralf was that good. I don't even think Ralf was that good. What did he really deliver? Some will say, well, if Erik Ten Hag doesn't want him, then why should I? Okay. This is my biggest bugbear. This is my biggest bugbear. We have just wasted the last 6 months of our lives as Man United fans. The club have wasted its time. What was the point? There's a comment here from Nazir who says, Terry, what happened to Ralf going upstairs exactly? Now, the idea, and again, just remember for a moment here, your opinion on Ralf Rangnick is irrelevant when it comes to the real problem here. Man United again having no plan. You and I again being lied to as fans. They told us Ralf was part of the future. When it was first reported, he was going to have a very hands-on consultancy role helping to run the football club. That way, we didn't get overtly panicked about him being the manager for 6 months, because the idea was he'd go upstairs, he'd help the new manager, and we'd hopefully get out of this hole that the Glazers have dug us. If we were told he was just going to be the interim, United fans wouldn't have stood for it. There would have been chaos because he isn't a good enough manager. But they chop and change the direction they want to go in all the time, this football club. There is no shadow of a doubt. Now, we also know that, I want to say it was Ed Woodward who kind of wanted Ralf involved. The majority of the remainder of the board didn't. Woodward's gone. So none of these things should be a surprise for people. But what a waste. What a waste of 6 months we have just had. When you look at where we are now, we should have just gone to Ajax in November and said, we know you don't want to get rid of him, but what's it going to take to buy the contract out? Erik Ten Hag should have been the Man United manager since November, December time, whenever the hell it was. Now that all that happened, I forget. The fact that we stood and we stayed with Ralf Rangnick for no reason. There was absolutely zero reason for him to be the Man United interim manager. And I get that some people say, well, actually, his CV, his track record of running football clubs isn't that good, Terry. I reckon it's better than John Myrtle and Fletcher's. I was quite excited about him maybe going upstairs. That's on me. But even if you're right and he's not very good at the job, what was he doing here anyway? There is no defending the Glazers on this again. Unorganized, ill-disciplined, topsy-turvy approach. And I'm positive about Erik Ten Hag. He is great. But this club is going to screw him. This club is going to throw him under the bus. This club is going to change its mind again. Wake up and smell the goddamn coffee. We'll change direction again. Ooh, I'm bored of this toy. Let's move on to a new one. Oh, Terry, why are you saying that for? Because it's happened again and again and again. I'm not unhappy that Ten Hag's moving on. Sorry, Ten Hag has come in. I'm not unhappy that Ralph's moving on. It's the wasting of time. Again and again. And when I spoke about this a month ago, when I did a stream about this a month ago, the vast majority of the comments were like, oh, Terry, why are you angry about him getting the Austria job? It isn't going to change anything. He's going to go upstairs. Him and Ten Hag want to work together. I told you what was going to happen. You're acting like I'm the mad guy. And someone here says, don't run your agenda. What do you mean, Sid? Run my agenda? What do you mean, run my agenda? My agenda is against the people that have ruined this football club. What, you see they're defending the Glazers, are you? Why are you defending the Glazers? Get off their teats, bruv. Get off the Glazer breast, bruv. I am defending Erik Ten Hag right now. They are going to do this to him. And we're all going to sit back and watch it. Running my agenda. No, loving my goddamn football club. I'm not one of these fans who's just going to sit on the sidelines and go, no, I'm going to push all the positive PR. I'm going to be really happy all the time. No, I'm going to maintain the energy that every real Man United fan should have. This club needs a coherent and consistent plan. And maybe, just maybe, now we have one. Maybe now, from this point moving forward, we're going to stick to one course with almost zero deviation for 3, 4, 5 years and build something. How can anyone believe that? How can anyone believe that's true until we reach that destination? They brought in Moyes, they changed direction. They got rid of him and they brought in LVG and they changed direction. They got rid of him halfway through and went with Jose and changed direction. 18 months in, they gave him a new deal and then they changed direction 2 months later. They then went with Ollie as an interim. He did a really good job, but he wasn't in the line for the job. They weren't even thinking about him. They then gave him a new deal. He did all right, then started to crash and burn, and then they gave him a new deal. A few months into his new deal, they went in another new direction. Then they told us we were bringing in an interim manager who's going to go upstairs and help us run the club and change things, change the culture and all of that. They then lied to us through some tier ones that he was helping to consult with who the new manager was going to be. That turned out to be a lie. And now you're all going, oh, Terry, calm down. It's only Ralph leaving. No, I will not calm down. I will not calm down until fans wake up and smell the coffee. Until you pull your money away from the club and you stop buying the shirts and your tickets and you stand up against these terrible owners. You get behind Erik Ten Hag properly. People will take this, oh, you're not going to get behind the new manager, are you, Terry? No, I'm 100% behind him. I want him backed to the hilt. Back doesn't just mean spending money. It means a continuous, consistent approach from top to bottom. Best-in-class people running things. Best-in-class football people running the football operation. Until that happens, this club is doomed. Absolutely doomed. It's doomed. He said they're not to listen, and it's a Rangnick sacking, by the way. They can call it. You can call it what you want, and they're left by mutual consent. Yeah, of course they did. Of course they're going to spin it that way. Ralph was very happy to have the maddest bit was Ralph got to a point where he was about to take the piss out of the club as well. He's like, bro, I'm going to get paid full time by Austria and still get paid 6 days a month to sit on a Zoom call and chat to the board, the Man United. Mugs of a football club we are. Mugs of a football club. Preach, brother. Look at what Real Madrid are achieving, and we are as huge as them. This is depressing is what Sully's got to say. The red flag for me was the fact that Ralph was a director of football and they only offered him a consultancy role. And do you know what it was, my friend? I initially thought, with the way it was being reported, that he would have a consultancy role, but look, I used to place consultants inside decent level position jobs in the financial industry. They were consultants, but they had full-time jobs doing that role as a consultant. They would go into a bank as a consultant, but work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day in that organization helping. And it might be for 6 months or a year, generally until that department were trained by that consultant and had the expertise to run it without them. And that's what these consultants did. They did that because they earn a lot more money than permanent staff, and they would move from company to company earning their money. And I thought, if we had 2 years of him basically being the director of football, I don't care what you called the role, but on a non-permanent basis, he was just a consultant. I was fine by that. But as soon as, and Dean Jones called this, by the way, the first journalist again. He said if Man United don't offer him a serious role, he'll leave because he thinks more of himself than sitting around doing a bit part role or being a bit of a spare wheel, a bit of a gooseberry at a wedding. Dean Jones, spot on again. Spot on again. Spot on again. And like I say, listen, I'm ranting about this because it's more so because I called this weeks ago and I was shot down for being negative about the club. I don't care. I'm not negative about Man United. I'm positive. I'm more positive than these people that go, I'm going to wait and see what happens this time. I'm going to get behind my manager. I'm more behind Erik Ten Hag than any other man. No Man United fan is more behind Ten Hag than me. None. Some less, but none more so. I want him to succeed with every fiber of my football being, okay? But that's only going to happen if the club is run right. And I'm not going to yield on that. And they're making all the noises like they're doing it. But they made these noises when Ten Hag came in. They made these noises when Oli came in, when Jose came in, when LVG came in. We've been told this before, and they consistently lie. And the fact we've wasted 6 months of our football, we threw the season away. We threw the season away when it was salvageable. And it was salvageable because Spurs and Arsenal weren't that good. Ten Hag comes in November. We'd be in the Champions League next year. We wouldn't be having to fight hard to convince Frankie de Jong to join. We'd have the money for Darwin Núñez. I'm not overly sold on him as a player, but that's irrelevant. Ten Hag wants him. It's a joke. It's a joke. We still can't ignore the dressing room mutiny. I'm still in shock about it. Listen, and there's another train of thought I have on this as well. You've got to look at it from this way. The way I look at it is this. I just read another comment here. It says, Terry's a mug. Oh, you're here. I know why you're calling me a mug, because you've been against my views on what the Glazers do this whole time, because you're a Glazer simp, and I keep being proven right, and it hurts your arsehole. Do you know what I mean? It stings, doesn't it, bro? You're getting a bit of ring sting because how often you get piped metaphorically. But listen, Mike B here says we still can't ignore the dressing room mutiny. Listen, the players down tools on Ralph. And again, I said it before, Ralph weren't a good enough manager. No doubt about it. But we should not be supporting player power. And this move, I think, enhances player power. They've won here. They have got rid of the man that was trying to get them to work hard for us, the fans. And listen, they've got to do a lot of work to eradicate it. And I pray and I hope to God that Ten Hag is the guy with his coaching team. And I hope Myrtle and Fletcher are strong enough to do it. And I'm hoping they go, right, we're going to draw a line, but it's the last time we draw it. I hope that's what it is. I hope it's, when you're going on a diet on a Monday, and maybe on the Sunday, you have a bit of a blowout, you eat a bit more food than you normally would. That's it, though. Last time, maybe that's going to be it. But I'll believe it when I see it. It's as simple as that. Terry, you are a winner, mate. You want success at your club. I feel your pain. I feel the same way for Arsenal. If Arsenal and Man United, with the money they spend, were run consistently and by people that make great decisions and the best decisions for the football pitch, both our clubs would be successful inside 3 years. We'd be competing within 3 years. And then the trophies would come. It's not hard. You've just got to be run right. And we're not. We're run like absolute trash, or have been for so long. Leopards don't change their spots. Player power will win. Rotten FC remain Rotten FC. Now, listen, I have hope that will change. Don't take my rant the wrong way. I've got hope will change. Some content creators, some people will be, Nigel, I'm not even going to rant about this. I'm just going to be nice, cool, calm, collected, and and everything else. And like I've said, he's been sacked for me. They've scrapped his role. They've sacked him, jacked him in. You know, there'll be a night. I'm not going to bother read the official response. It will just be, I know what the official response is going to say. It's going to say something along the lines of, we want to thank Ralph for all he's done. He came in during a difficult time. He's helped us do X, Y, and Z. There'll be an element either from him or from the club that speaks about this new role he's got with Austria, the time it's going to take, and you know how very much he knows that Man United need full attention as opposed to someone that's not fully focused on it. It will read some pure nonsense. I don't need to even look at it to know what it says. And that's why I know it's bullshit. Because when I worked for the biggest bank in England, that's what their PR team wrote for everything that came out. We had a local paper come to my branch once, and I spoke. And you have to send it off to the PR team that rewrite everything you said. And when it came out in the paper, it was branch manager Terry Flewis says, I never said a single word that they said. It was an official answer from the bank, but they just said it was from my mouth. PR. Stop. Get off the teats. Stop. I know the milk is sweet. I know the milk is beautiful, but get off the teats. Think for yourselves. Don't try and be a top red. They're not good fans. They are terrible fans. They feed this nonsense. The Glazers know United fans are overhyped, is what's being said there. Rangnick wasn't sacked. What was he then? It literally says here, the first person to report on this today, this is what it says. Man United scraps Ralph's consultancy role. If someone's, okay, I'll rephrase it. Ralph Rangnick made redundant. What was he then? How do you mean he wasn't sacked, wasn't made redundant? Come on, man. What are you talking? They scrapped his role. They scrapped his role. Bruv, you're done out here. That's being sacked. Stop sugarcoating it to make it the club look better. Why protect the Glazers? My word. My word. KJ's here, me. What are you saying, mate?
This club loves to show our ass, man. That's all we do. We just show our ass to everyone. We are embarrassing. We are embarrassing. There's nothing to say that this is going to be completely a disaster in terms of.
That's a great response, my friend.
Yeah. In terms of like what's it called? In terms of like the whole grand scheme of United, is this like completely the end? Are we completely finished because Ralph Rangnick is no longer going to be a consultant? No, but it's just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of us just showing our ass to the football world that we have no flipping clue of what to flipping do. Why? If you're gonna get rid of him anyway, why bring him in the first place? I'm grateful for if he had a hand. If you see, this is what I mean. I have to say if now. If he had a hand in getting Ten Hag, cool. Thank you for showing that these players don't want to work. But again, I have to question that now. Was you just being a dickhead? You know what I mean? Thank you for exposing the fact that Glazers didn't want to buy you any players. But again, now I have to question that and be like, why was that? You know what I mean? This just throws everything up in the air. We look like we was building something. We get rid of Ollie because he just wasn't good enough. Fair enough. We bring in Ralph. He's going to be interim, but also afterwards he's going to be upstairs helping restructure the club. We get Ten Hag. We talk about getting another DOF or a deputy DOF, you whatever flipping call it, to come in like Paul Mitchell or whoever. All of that looks good. And I started like, all right, cool. Something might be building here. This one thing is like Jenga. We've pulled the wrong piece, and so it's just fell apart. I have no idea what the hell we're gonna do. Again, this could not be like, this might not be like the end of Manchester United and like that's it, we're completely finished. But it just like Sippy says, what a waste! What a flipping waste, man!
And mate, this is my point here. A few people said, "Oh, Terry, you really rated Ralph," and I did. I still think if he was our director of football, he would do a phenomenal job. And it makes, listen, there are lots of claims going around. I'm right now sticking with what James Ducker has written and said because he broke the news. I feel like a lot of other journalists now coming out with tweets and stuff, they're just they didn't know this was coming until James Ducker posted it, right? They have no idea what they're talking about. But I could see this coming. I felt this coming and I knew it was coming. weeks ago. And part of James Ducker's article, and I want to read this, says, Ralf Rangnick is determined to focus his efforts fully on his new role. Now, Dean Jones told us that in December. If he wasn't offered a proper job at Man United, he'd be gone. It then goes on to say that United felt those commitments would make it hard for him to dedicate time to the club going forward. When I said that 4 weeks ago, and I said it's a disgrace that we're allowing him to have this job if we really want him, and this is what people are missing. If we really wanted him to dedicate time, even if it was only a week a month, to making us better, that needed to be a big part of his focus. You couldn't run a national team and focus on Man United. And I thought it was disgraceful that we allowed him to even look at it. And now it makes more sense with what Ten Hag said. When they said, do you agree with the consultancy role? He said, that's on the club. Mm-hmm. There's never a follow-up question. And this is what annoys me with journalists. Do it for a reason because it's out there now. We can interpret it how we want. My follow-up question would have been, what do you mean it's up to the club? Would you rather him here? Would you prefer to work with him on a full-time basis, or is this consultancy thing a little bit weird? Because everyone thought the consultancy thing was weird, right? 6 days a week was weird. Ten Hag could very easily have been saying, I'd love a director of football of his level here, but he's got to be here full-time. This whole doing a week a month thing while he's managing another club, that's what's on the club. Sorry, that while managing another nation, that's what's on the club. And this is the point. Rangnick not being here, him, the individual, isn't what I'm angry about. It's the waste of 6 months. We have no director of football that's come in. We have no idea if Fletcher and Myrtle are going to be good enough to run things. And it just feels that we've made a number of changes so far, but we don't have someone outside of the manager leading this who's best in class running football clubs. We've got Myrtle and Fletcher that I'm not convinced are right. And I just feel like we're going to burn one of the best managers in the world now in Erik Ten Hag. And I don't care how negative I sound. I'm like this because of 9 years of destruction. To expect me just to go, I'm just going to blindly say it's okay. I'm sorry. I can't do it, Cage. I can't.
It's just happened again. It's just happened again. Like you think something's changing. You think something's building. And it just gets pulled underneath us. Like I mentioned it the other day when we were talking about, the Glazers now moving forward. Well, clearly not. Like I said, they're not moving anywhere. When I saw that interview of that pagan walking and getting asked questions about Man United, man was a coward. He was a coward. Couldn't stand still. Had no chest. Quickly answered the questions and looked like he was off in a hurry somewhere to some business meeting. And I don't flipping care that you're at. Why you stand still? Show some leadership. Actually address the fans and actually tell us what the hell's going on. What do you plan to flipping do? And now you do this. And again, Ralph, it's not about Ralph. It's not about him. It's about what we look like as a football club. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Joshua here says people made Ralph to be some outspoken hero, but all he wanted was the permanent job. And as soon as it was clear he wasn't going to get it, he started to pulling a Jose. Josh, I understand that standpoint, and I know a lot of people didn't like how he called people out. I just viewed it very differently. I just felt like he looked at it that these players weren't pulling their weight. These players were disrespecting the club, disrespecting the fans by not giving their all. And I've said this before. Football fans have got to get this out of their minds that just because you don't like a manager's style, you don't like a manager's formation or the players that he picks, that doesn't give these players an excuse not to work hard and run through brick walls. They still have to give their all. And I think Ralph was calling him out for that reason. Now, you're right. Maybe you're right that Rangnick become angry that he didn't get the full-time role. Again, that's a mistake with the Glazers. He should have been made abundantly clear day one. It's interim into a consultancy role. That's all it's ever going to be. But I'll tell you what it is, Josh. I believe this is why I don't trust the Glazers. And people are missing the elephant in this big, fat, bright pink elephant in the room. This is what it is, Josh. If Rangnick would have come in and done really well for 2 or 3 months, they would have probably given him the full-time job. And that's the point. There is no plan. They sway they're pissing in the wind. And every now and then, the wind is blowing away from us. The wind is blowing away from the fans and away from the club. It looks okay. But when that wind changes direction, you're getting a face full of piss. And that's what I'm fearful of, because we've got the manager right now. We have got a manager who I'm very excited about. We're looking at players that are brilliant, but we've had exciting managers and brilliant players purchased in the past, and we've stood still. More needs to happen. Let's do some more of your comments coming through here. I want to know what you're all saying. Terry, you can't call Ten Hag one of the best managers in the world. I rate him and I like his philosophy. Looks like he has potential, but not on that level now. So when I say best managers in the world, I do think he's one of the best coaches in the world. Equally, let me rephrase that. It's a good challenge, and I always concede when I think it's a good challenge. Let me reiterate it to: he is one of the best managers in the world that Man United can get, because the others, Conte, Pep, Klopp, Ancelotti, Tuchel, they're all unattainable. So that's more what I meant. But yeah, good challenge there. Stop overhyping Ten Hag. I think he's sensational, my friend. But this is what will happen now. If Ten Hag fails, it will just... rivals don't want to hear about the Glazers. Even certain Man United fans don't want to hear about the Glazers anymore. It's all right. All the pressure's on Ten Hag to deliver. They don't want to hear about structure and the way the club is run, because people view that as a get out of jail free card for managers and stuff like that. Terry and KJ, are you guys afraid that the Glazers will turn Ten Hag into the next David Moyes? Yeah.
Yeah, well, he won't be David Moyes per se, but I'm afraid that they're gonna burn him out. I'm afraid they're gonna stain his career, because look at all the managers that's come here after Fergie. All of their all the stains on their careers at Man United. Even if they've won trophies like Van Gaal and Jose, there's still a stain from their stint for Man United. Ollie now looks like he may never manage football ever again. Like,
yeah,
this is how crazy it is. Ralph has been shown to be whatever Ralph is. Like, everyone that comes here has a stain on their career. What the hell is wrong with us? And I don't care what anyone says. You can't just say, oh, it's just Man United and no one's at fault. It's just Man United. Well, clearly there is someone at fault, and it's people who own the football club. Because we've been through how many different players and how many different managers. And guess what's still here? Them lot. So I don't want to hear for anyone saying, oh, the Glazers aren't issues, your players, oh, it's the managers, oh, it's just Man United. Well, they are Man United because they own the flipping football club.
Let me just say this as well from the bunk. He's devil's advocate, Terry. He is in Ralph was the worst manager we have had, factually. Always blamed the players, never took responsibility, and didn't deserve to have a strong say on Man United's future. Ralph Rangnick was a flop. Look, I look at it from this point of view. I understand that, and a lot of people will do it. I think that train of thought is fair, but I think you're letting the players get out of jail free. But the fans buy into it very easily, and I'll tell you why. And I get it, because I want to do the same, by the way. I want us to start next season, win the first 3 or 4 games, play some beautiful football, and be able to get excited again. But if you have my stance, which is until I see sustained success, sustained good decision making, good behaviors from players and the people that run the club for 2-3 years, only then am I going to suddenly relax and go, I'm happy. It's harder to enjoy it in the short term. And I think people want to go, do you know what? If we could just kind of put the blame on Ralph a little bit, and then I can get back behind the players and the club very quickly. That's how I feel. Josh here says, I do agree with that, Terry. I also think we need to be fair towards John, Myrtle, and Fletcher, 2 of the football people that will be judging in the summer. And you know what, mate? When we were linked with Paul Mitchell, and obviously Ralph being here, go back and watch those videos where I ranted. I haven't got an issue with Fletcher and Myrtle being here, but I think we need someone experienced who's done the role they're doing next to them, teaching them for the next 2 or 3 years. I think we're still letting 2 people inexperienced in the role they're now doing, not inexperienced in football, but in the role they're doing, run Manchester United. Man United. They should, if you look at what Edwin van der Sar was doing at Ajax before he was in charge of the footballing operation like he is now, he built up to that. These boys are just, I don't know if they are. I'm very, very nervous indeed. Daniel's coming on in a minute, people. Klopp, I lost the view then. Klopp himself said United is a Disneyland FC. Why act outraged? When will you learn? They won't change their ways. Why should they? It's working for them. Well, that's why I'm outraged, because I'm not actually outraged at the Glazers. I'm outraged that people are here defending it. I saw people even in our group chat, acting like, oh, it's all right. It's just like people are not looking beyond the end of their nose. They're really not. Because remember, a lot of the tier ones that we all sit out lead, they'll be defending this decision. They'll be defending the club's stance on this over the next few days. Why? Because they'll be waiting for those exclusive, they'll be getting those exclusive interviews with these new signings over the summer. It's all a game. It's all a fugaze. It's all a fugaze. Daniel's joining us now. What you saying, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Very, very quickly, like, just give me 5 minutes to because obviously I'm very interested in this topic, just even from just taking away the banter side of things. I don't want to say too much, obviously, because I'm saving it for tomorrow's show. There's so much to discuss on tomorrow's show, so I'm going to save it for that. But in terms of this news in particular, I think one thing that I'm gauging and people need to understand is there's many facets to this, and the one thing that I look at to almost highlight or properly tell you how incompetent the Glazers are is that now the whole Ralph being appointed interim manager thing is a very questionable decision. Because if we cast our minds back, not even questionable, it's laughable. If we cast our minds back, one of the things that I've challenged Man United fans on, so yourself, Liaz, KJ, Neeks, I challenged you guys all the time, and you guys know I did this. I said, you guys should have been challenging for the title. Obviously, some people said, no, we can't, da-di-da-di-da. I said, cool. The main rebuttal was, as soon as Ollie is sacked and a competent manager comes into this team, we will do better. Even to the point where we thought, when Ralph came in, getting top 4 was going to be something that was achievable. Like, getting 4th was achievable. Like, fair enough, Conte, because he was the experienced manager, but it had nothing to do with Tottenham squad. It was more to do with the fact that because we have a competent manager and Man United have a betterish squad than Tottenham, we will finish 4th. And that still did not happen under Ralph for a multitude of reasons. It's not only just Ralph, of course, but at the end of the day, again, we know the buck falls with the manager, and that's one thing in that regard. So obviously the Ralph appointment now is totally into question, because we're thinking, if he was just going to not to get sacked, because I read into it. I posted it into the group chat. I was the one who said, wait, trouble in paradise, because I listened to Ten Hag, and obviously you said you needed to see the body language and stuff like that, Terry. But I told you, I was like he said he's not, like, he wants to do it himself. He was like, yeah, well, I've spoken to the club a little bit, but we're not really feeling it, but we'll see what happened. That's not someone who knew that he was going to be a consultant, or there was going to be a consultant or a director of football, or someone who thought there was going to be someone above him to consult with. So there's that aspect to it. And then just the other aspect to it, and this is me speaking as a neutral, just as a lover of football, to Man United fans, and not bantering, but stop buying into the PR. Stop buying into the PR. Forget even the money thing, the buying of kits and stuff like that. Forget. Obviously, that's your personal choice, Terry, innit? It's just going to be so hard to stop people from pumping money into the club, because there's things that people just want to have. Do you know what I mean? Kits and all of that kind of stuff. But PR is something that you can cut out from the get-go. Like, stop buying into we're going to do this, the club's going to do that. Paul Mitchell's going to come in and he's going to change the legacy of the club in the way that it runs, in the way that its operations go, the transfers that we're looking at. It's actually going to slowly kill you, as in, obviously figuratively, but the PR, clubs do this.
Cool. Just quickly, you make quite a point. Are you talking to me on that?
No. In general. I'm
going to say, I'm about to say. I mean, the reason I say that is because you're speaking my language in the sense.
Yeah. This is in general, of course.
I did watch Rangnick's Ten Hag's interview and press conference, but I saw people pulling out their Jolly Roger and tugging it, and I'm thinking, yeah, he spoke good, but he just gave very generic.
Yeah.
I haven't read the official statement about Rangnick leaving, but I know they're going to thank him and talk about difficult times and what a great person he is and the things he's helped them with, and it's going to sound very nice and mutual. I know what they're going to say. I know how most managers are going to answer questions once I hear the question from the journalist. I know what the answer is going to be. They all answer it the same. Fans are mental when they believe this stuff. And to your first point, I really wanted to discuss this whole. We all thought, and I still believe we've got a much better squad than people are making out. Not good enough to win the league, but a decent squad. I thought Ralph was going to get them to play better. I was reading something about Ten Hag. There was an interview that somebody gave, and I want to say it was René Mullenstein. He said, "How long do you think it will take this Man United team to be able to press and work at the level of work rate that a Ten Hag team needs?" And he said it will take about 2 years so they can do it consistently for a full season, like throughout the 90 minutes of a match. Like it could take up to that amount of time but that means that's 2 years of pushing your body through boundaries fitness wise to get to the level. Things like that are the problem with this squad. I think when Ralph came in, first game, everyone was quite excited because they looked good. They're running hard. I think the players realized after a few days, this is going to kill us.
I can't do this.
Yeah, that's been my view on this whole time. That sounds too much like hard work. And that's my fear. This is where people will celebrate it and go, yeah, but Ralph was trash. It's okay the players threw him under the bus. Yeah, until they decide to try and throw Ten Hag under.
Exactly.
That's why, for me, you have to... The behaviors of the players and the attitude of the club has to be brilliant, irrespective of who the manager is. Oh, the coach, we had Ted Lasso as a coach. Why are you disrespecting him though? Like this club is consistently showing its arse and showing how unprofessional they are. And what it will do, it will manifest and come out at another stage with a manager that you like and love. It's why the standards have got to be there at all times, you know, and we're awful. We really are.
No, last thing before I go, but I promise you, and this is the banter. I said, I think it was KJ. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I said it to your tweet. In 3 years' time, we're gonna be here again when Diego Simeone comes into Man United.
No, yeah, you have said
in charge. I told, until I see something so clear and so blatant. Like Man United now, for me, it's not even about foot stumbling across the right thing now. I need to see it so blatantly where I'm seeing results, tangible results. I'm not going to believe anything. I don't care about Ten Hag. I don't care about...
Daniel, we tried to tell you this at the start of the season when you was running the agenda.
That's fair, really. And maybe now that I have no expectations for Man United, they're going to do well.
Yeah, I hope we do better than Big 4-4 no safety. Some of our predictions, we're obviously doing that on the top tomorrow. Some of our predictions, I'm going to play some of them tomorrow.
In the mud.
Brother, thanks for coming on, my guy, and we'll chat to you soon. Cheers, mate. Take care, bro. Thank you. We're going to take a few calls from some people now. First up, Mo's here. What are you saying, Mo?
How's it going, Terry? You know, I came on the show a couple of weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, and I was quite optimistic, you know. I got sucked in again on the PR for, we got Ralf Rangnick, Erik Ten Hag, we got new CEO, Richard Arnold, and something's changing. Nothing's going to change at that football. Now if Ralf Rangnick is gone, this manager won't last 2 years in the job. I guarantee you, because he can't do this job by himself. You got Darren Fletcher. If he's working with Darren Fletcher, he is fucked. Because Darren Fletcher is not equipped to be in that role. John Murtaugh, I think, did a good job of getting Ralf Rangnick, but we're back to square one again. And I stand by this, and I've said it. You will never, ever win a Premier League under this ownership. I would say it's impossible. It's impossible to win a league title under this ownership. You're never going to do it. They've been far left behind by Liverpool and City. Ralf Rangnick's gone. So it's back to square one again, back to the normal structure again, under Ed Woodward.
Are you outside, bro?
Yeah.
We can see.
No, listen, do you know what, Mo? It's a little noisy. Thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it, mate, and all the support you give us. And I hear him. Until we start running this club differently, there is nothing that is going to change there. Pav's on the show next. What you saying, mate?
Man, I told you about a week or two ago, mate, I don't trust these people. And you were like, don't stress out. Everything will be fine. You even said, you know, when they announced that Ralph was taking that Austrian job, in that WhatsApp group, you was having a conversation with someone else, though. You said there you would not be surprised if he's gone once the season's over at some point. And look what's happened. He's gone. You don't say the stuff that Ralph's been saying without consequences. Like, the Glazers must have been looking, this man saying, 10 new players. Is he mad? Nah, bin him. You think I knew for a fact that we were never going to get like 10 new players and all this. And a lot of the stuff Ralph said did really kind of disrespect. Not like, for me, it was great what he was saying, but for the people who work at the club and the Glazers, they probably felt disrespected. And I knew something like this was going to happen at some point, even when Ten Hag had his interview and they asked him the question about, have you talked to him yet? And he was like, no, I haven't. He goes, we might have a Zoom call. Mate, what? Like, the guy who's been here for the last 6 months, you can have a Zoom call with him. Like, you know what I mean? There was something, you could tell there was something fishy going on. And the fact is, like, we've got rid of people. Matt Judge is gone. Woodward decided he wanted to go. They've got rid of scouts and some other people. But there's people still at that club who want to keep the power to themselves rather than bring in people from the outside who know what they're doing. This is why I constantly said, I do not trust these people. And for them, it's like great, because I had a text message received from United about season tickets a couple of months ago. And about a month ago, they already said that they already sold out. But I'm only on the list because I've been on there for years, but I refuse to buy a season ticket. But when the season tickets have already been sold out and they don't care, like, it's great for them. They can do what they want. They're not worried. They know people are going to keep pumping money into this club. There's going to be parents out there who are going to keep buying shirts for the kids. There's still people who happily give their money to them. Why are they worried? People will celebrating the fact that the United stock price had dropped down to the lowest it's ever been a few days ago. What, do the Glazers care about that? No, because they know that stock price will go straight back up once they make one signing. Everyone's on the bandwagon about it. Like, this club's a joke, and it's just proves to me today that we're never going back to the top. I could literally tell you now, we're never going back to the top. We're never catching City. We're never probably catching Liverpool, because they're at a point where they're self-sustaining and what they're doing, it's literally working for them, and we're never getting to that point. I don't trust Murta. What's Darren Fletcher doing at the club? Nothing. Arnold's job's there to make money. He's literally he makes us think that he's got no footballing powers, like no footballing decisions. That's BS. Like, I don't trust him. He's just another Woodward. But honestly, bro, like, our club is finished. Our club is actually finished. I don't know what we can do about it as fans. Nothing.
Listen, I don't think there's much that can be done without the collective doing some stuff. Pav, great words, my friend. Thanks for coming on and having your say. I appreciate
Cool,
it, mate.
man.
Top man. Thank you. Aslan here says, I have been very suspect of Myrtle from day one. How does somebody gain such power under the Glazers without holding a similar role before? Puppet. And listen, I'll remain hopeful that there's change, but I can be hopeful but maintain my foot upon the Glazers' neck this whole time. That's just how I am. And there's an article that's just been released by Laurie Whitwell that I'm not going to read it while I'm live on air because it's always very detailed about from it was actually came out on the 22nd of May. The kind of, it says here, the inside Ralph's spell as interim manager. And again, I've read parts of that already. And, you know, I know a lot of people like Danny Devil in the details is someone who, you know, isn't overly fussed that Ralph's gone. And I'm not even debating that. For me, I thought that he could have been a very good sort of director of football or doing that type of role. But if we've discovered again, like this is the elephant in the room that doesn't get discussed. This is an article with, I don't know, 15 paragraphs in it. And what doesn't really get touched on is, have we gone and employed another person for 6 months who turned out not to be anywhere near good enough? Where's the due diligence? Where's the planning? And I'm almost at a point where I don't even care what Ralph did wrong. How we've fouled 5 times on the bounce and no one's angry about it. Like, it's almost, yeah, but we've done the right thing now by getting rid of him. It's like, mate, if all the things everyone's saying are true, that Ralph was actually a fraudulent, overhyped dud, you should be even more concerned. Like, that should set off more alarm bells. Then if it was literally, the club really wanted him, but Ten Hag said, no, mate, I want someone better, that makes a little more sense. But if it's the club have realized, oh my God, he's a charlatan. He has no idea what he's doing. You know, he's been getting them playing basketball and training rather than football. Do you know what I mean? They've been sitting down watching repeats of Glengarry Glen Ross. Really good South film. That was the art of motivation. They've been doing meditation instead of suicide sprints. I don't know. It just shows how badly we run. This is the point I make to people. It's not about trying to be right. It's all the things people throw in as excuses as to why it's right that Ralph's gone. They're bigger concerns to me. They're bigger concerns to me than anything else. Long time no speak. Every day same. Back on the terrace. How you doing, mate? You there? Every day same. You there?
Sounds like I'm crying, bro.
Okay, we'll try and come back to him in a minute. We're going to go to Fixer's on. How you doing, Fixer?
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
I'm good, my friend.
I swear I haven't seen you since Ollie was here. Are you happy that you ain't got the Ollie in charge no more? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got a gig. Yeah, I got some serious work I had to do, so I couldn't be seen like on YouTube for that period of time. That's why you guys haven't seen me.
No worries, my friend. What do you want to say, my friend?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think you guys are overreacting a little bit. I mean, I've seen a lot of United fans are really, really upset that it's Rangnick news, but I think we should look at it from the other angle. I mean, he wasn't a great manager, you know. He wasn't. Let's just be honest about it, you know. I understand the player power and everything, but at the end of the day, you have one job, which is to get the team to play well. If you can't do it, there's really no excuses, really. I wanted Carrick to stay. I wanted Carrick to stay to the end of the season, and we got a new manager like we've done now with Ten Hag. I felt it was very unnecessary to bring in Rangnick because Carrick had only 3 games, right? And I don't think Rangnick did any better in the half a season than Carrick did in those 3 games he had. He had a really good record, that guy. So I think even the consultancy role, I mean, we brought him to do the role, but if I brought you to do like a team leader role, yeah, with a promise of giving you, let's say, the manager job, and you fail in the team leader role, why would I give you the manager job? You know what I mean?
But bro, again, I think you're misunderstanding why we're annoyed. We're not annoyed that Ralph is gone. That's not the point.
Yeah.
Well, for me anyway, it's not the point. My point is Man United just look embarrassing again. We look like clowns again, and that's all that's frustrating me.
But it's an old story now. It's been like that for a long time. We should be used to it by now. Like we had a problem with Van Gaal and Giggs, remember? We had a problem with Van Gaal and Giggs, and we didn't follow that up.
Only because someone is embarrassing constantly doesn't mean every time it happens is any less frustrating. Like,
yeah, I get
why
that.
is the club not learning? That's what I want to know. Why are we continually making these mistakes so the whole world can see? It's not like it's a minor thing. Like, it's just the scout scouted the wrong player, so we just got rid of one scout. This is the guy who was interim manager that's supposed to be your consultant gone. That's why I'm frustrated, because we just look like idiots again. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this club looking like an absolute embarrassment for world football. That's my main concern, Fixer. So it ain't about Ralph. It's about
do you know what, Fixer? Look, I totally can, like I've said the whole time, if somebody doesn't think Ralph was good enough, if they think that whether he was the reason we got even worse after Ollie, or whether it was the players, my anger still persists because it's about the way we're run as a football club. Either of those two things lead back to us being run poorly. I'm not even worried about being right about the specific things, but they're both issues with the club still. We keep making mistakes. And you just said something you just said something really powerful. And for me, was that like, why are you not used to it? Why are you still angry? If you just suddenly roll over and let your belly get tickled, you know, and become submissive to the, you know, have a sort of a submissive sort of surrender to the circumstances, you will enable the way the Glazers run the club to continue forever. If you just go, I'm tired of moaning about it, I'm tired of standing up against it, I'm tired of speaking my mind against it. You know what's funny? Like, a lot more pressure started building up against the Glazers in the last few months when the likes of Gary Neville finally started calling it out on camera, because it gets people on board. If everyone stops talking about it, they'll just do this to us for another 20 years unchecked. Like, we need noise, we need anger, we need frustration, we need it. But a lot of people, for different reasons, some get tired of it. Others They just want to sit there and be able to buzz about this new season, a new manager. They just want to focus on what they can see in front of them, the low-hanging fruit, the new players, the new manager, and what his philosophy is going to be. They're not focusing on, are we changing behind the scenes?
I'm not convinced by Ten Hag.
All that will happen with those people, and this is where fans clash, and this is where I clash with people. They're all going to forget about the way we're run because they're excited. And in 2 years' time, when we're back to wanting a manager out because it's all gone wrong, that's when someone like me gets angry. I'm going, guys, but if you'd have just focused on what I was talking about 9 years, not for the last 9, 10, 11 years, you wouldn't be angry at the manager right now. You'd be angry at the club. And then what happens is they sack the manager. They get angry at the club for a few months. A new guy comes in and straight away they become submissive again. And it is where it is. I hear where you're coming from and everything that you've said, but still the bigger picture remains the way we're run, my friend.
Yeah, fair enough. But like I was going to say to you guys here, I mean, the only way this can change is if we get rid of the Glazers. Let's just be realistic about it. Yeah, they're making so much money. They're not gonna like literally just walk away. So my thing is, why can't we, or why isn't there a manager out there who can bring us some degree of success despite the Glazers? You know
what, we can. Fergie and David Gill did. If we run well,
so it's
with
possible.
A quality manager, yes, but we need to be run well. And the point is, if we just employed Ralph for 6 months and he was an absolute charlatan and crap rubbish, that tells you the level of due diligence and the ability of our decision makers to pick the right people.
Yeah,
that's the frustration. But listen, great call, Fixer. It's good to have you back on, my friend, and we'll speak again soon. Top man. Thanks. Thank you. Danny Devil in the Details is here. How you doing, my guy?
I'm good. I'm good. You see, I'm smiling because echo.
I've heard I heard a rumor you've just got off a Glazer teat. That's what you.
I knew that was coming. Where am I getting echo? Where's the echo from? KJ, is that you? Who am I getting echo from?
No, I've got no echo on my end, my guy.
Okay, echo's gone. So, look, this is. Do you know what it is, Terry? Yeah? If you're somebody who's actually aware of how your football club is run, yeah, if you're able to separate your preference, so my personal preference is we're not owned by the Glazers, so we're committed to winning. So we maybe have a better CEO, maybe someone like Morata at Inter, for example, or Van der Sar, if that's who people prefer, and the rest will take care of itself. That's my personal preference. That's not our reality. We're owned by the Glazers. At some point, you have to discuss Manchester United in the context of who we're run by, right? That's what it comes down to. When Ralf Rangnick was initially announced, I was in the studio with you and KJ. We were gassed, but we were gassed because we made assumptions. We're both grown men here. We don't believe in flip-flopping, Terry. Me and you both know if you get access to new information, you change your mind about something. So once it became clear, it's a consultancy role that wasn't clearly defined. And by the way, the credible journalists always made it clear he has no power. His role's not defined.
I agree.
Once I saw him throwing the team under the bus, once somebody I speak to, that's an Italian AC Milan fan, told me he was negotiating a contract with AC Milan, but he messed it up because everything he did at Man United, he was doing that to Milan before he signed the contract. And anybody can go and Google it, go see what Maldini said about Ralf Rangnick. All the things you praise Ralf Rangnick for saying about Man United, which are true, by the way, Maldini weren't having it. So he didn't hire Ralf Rangnick in the end. Go Google it. It's all facts. I weren't privy to this information when I was cheerleading Ralf Rangnick to get the job and become the consultancy role when I assumed it was something it wasn't. That's why now today on the 29th of May, I'm not surprised and I understand what the situation is. Do you get what I'm saying to you? The club never said he is here to rebuild anything. If that's why you're angry, why are you angry about something that, because we made that assumption. But I've been onto him for months. I've been onto the football club for months. All of these changes, anyone who follows me on Twitter will know I've been calling out the PR. All of these changes at the football club. Some financial guy who really just deals with our operations on the stock market leaves. People are cheerleading. There's change. What change? The player care guy leaves. There's change. Chief of staff gets a better job at the PFA. Oh, there's change.
Yeah,
no.
and I
two scouts leave. You had a football terrace space. I said on that space, those scouts leaving and nothing to do with Ralf Rangnick. Judge leaving, nothing to. I've been saying this for months. That's why I'm not surprised when we're in this situation now. This is the reality of the situation. Let me just land on this, Terry. Sorry. This is the reality. In the context of who we're owned by, which is the Glazers, Richard Arnold, John Murtaugh. That's it. That's who they trust. That's who you have to look at. That's your tiny, tiny bit of hope. Just because they're different than Ed Woodward, who's the most incompetent CEO football's ever seen, the fact that they're different than him, different people, that's it. In the context of the Glazer ownership, that's your only hope for change. There is nothing else, people. There's nothing else.
So
and that's what people need to wake up to. So,
yeah.
go.
No, it's cool, because what it is, you say a lot, and it's like I don't. It's good when you say a lot, but then it's like by the time you get to the end point, you made 2 or 3 points at the beginning.
Okay.
That's like, sometimes I like to stop you after one point, talk about it. And
my
go through.
bad. I'm bad.
It's cool. Look, I'm not. Listen, on Ralph, I've read what Maldini said. I think I read that Maldini said that he would have quit if Ralph came in. However, AC Milan were in the pits at that point, and sometimes certain clubs need someone to deliver home truths. I'm at a point with these Man United players where I do believe, and I really believe that a lot of them stop working for him, rightly or wrongly. And my view's always just been, I don't care whether you like Ralph or not as a player, you work your backside off of this club irrespective. So I can't support their behavior. I do think they're down tools, and I think you'll see a lot of them working harder the day they come back in the preseason training. But if it turns out Ralph wasn't as good as I hoped he was, or I read that he was, as you say, new information, that isn't really, that's fine. But the football club should have access to this information long before us. And it would prove again another terrible appointment. And I said right at the start, I'm more angry that I feel like we've wasted 6 months. Because as fans, we only know what we know. There isn't a fan or a YouTuber, content creator, king of spaces who knows anything other than what's put out there in the media, generally speaking. So we know what we know. And when Ralph came in, 99.9% of what we were told, read, and it was said to us was positive. And I felt like we saw some positive things in the beginning. There were some refreshing approaches to things and everything else. But yeah, it has gone sour. But my view is just that we keep making mistakes as a football club. And what we should have done, and I know it's hindsight, but we should have broke the bank for Erik Ten Hag in November, paid that money for him there and then. But instead, we threw the season away. And my biggest concern, as I said at the top of my rant, is we're going to end up doing something similar with Erik Ten Hag, whether it be not fully backing him, whether it be changing direction halfway through, whatever it may be. And I still stand by this. If Erik Ten Hag, if Ralf Rangnick would have done a good job in his first 2 or 3 months, if the players would have bought into him on a personal level and gone, we'll work for you, and they'd have played well for 3 or 4 months, they'd have probably offered him the full-time job. They'd have gone, hang on a minute, we can get another manager here cheap. And that's more my concern is the way we're running. I do agree with you, by the way. Our hope is Myrtle and Fletcher. And I said on a stream the other day when everybody was talking.
I wouldn't say Fletcher. Fletcher's like, he's so low on the ladder. It's Myrtle and Arnold.
Yeah. But I think where he can help is what I have read about Darren Fletcher. He's quite well respected in football. And when it comes to conversations and relationships with clubs, it helps. But I called out on a stream the other day. There was when everyone's leaving. I'm like, yeah, some senior people are leaving. But some of the senior people who leave in Man United is because they actually were doing a good job and everything else. So you need to kind of take it contextually as it were. But I am concerned, and I'm more the irony in it is I'm more concerned because I think we have a brilliant manager and the way we operate could ruin that, as opposed to I'm concerned with who's managing the club. But the problem that you have is that there's so many basic people out there. They'll see me angry about this and their brain will go, Terry thinks Ten Hag isn't good enough. So no, I just think he needs help. And my hope was that Ralph or someone of similar experience in a director of football type role would be helping to run things. I don't really care what the title is. I don't really care the structure between him and Myrtle and Arnold. But I wanted a Paul Mitchell, a Ralf Rangnick. Edwin van der Sar is probably too senior.
Campos would have been great, but man's gone to flipping PSG, man.
Yeah, so I wanted that because I just feel we need it so much because we had other good managers, but not so much different elsewhere.
They're outsiders. They're outsiders.
I know, and they don't like outsiders. We're like the mafia, bro. We're like the mafia. They don't like the outsiders, bro. Do you know what I mean?
But not as cool, and all of them are ugly as flipping hell, man.
You know what this is, though, Terry? This is one big distraction. This is what I was going to get back to. This is the big distraction from this fact. Bear in mind, Woodward is still in charge back then. They weren't prepared. They didn't have a plan for sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's how we've ended up in this situation. That's what it comes down to.
I did say
the board didn't want to sack him, had no plan for it, and then we've had to move quickly, pivot, and we should have sacked him after Liverpool. We didn't. And then they've ended up in this situation after that. That's the root of all of this.
Ed Woodward again, because he's
I
an
think
idiot.
it was you, Dan. I said it earlier on the stream. I said someone told me, and I think it was you. Wasn't Ralph somebody that Woodward wanted, but nobody else on the board was overly sold on him?
No,
I read or I feel like
I know Murta wanted him. Like,
Murta.
I know we spoke to Ralph when we were pretending to look for a technical director who was going to be an outsider. I know we spoke to Ralph back then, and that's how he ties in when he got the interim manager. People are putting two and two together.
Yeah.
But let's not get twisted. I was on board with all of this. I was. But when you get access to new information and then you see how the club is consultancy, well, what does that actually mean? Hold on a second. Lokomotiv Moscow are not happy with Ralph Rangnick. What's going on?
AC
and an
Milan,
Italian fan told me AC Milan. Then he ends up being the manager of Austria. So it's not like Ralph Rangnick's leaving and we have to be embarrassed because he's the sporting director of Tottenham or he's going to be the manager. So he wanted to be the manager. And that's another angle of this term when you talk about the research part, right? Rangnick has come into this under false pretenses. He wanted the Man United job. He knew that consultancy role weren't going to give him any power. We know that's why he didn't get the Milan job and why he's not working anywhere else in European football. Think about that, people. He's the manager of Austria because he's not getting a job in football in Europe that's powerful. So he's come in, thought he could become the Man United manager, realized he inherited one big mess. And this is where, for months, anyone who follows me on Twitter knows I've been calling this guy. I'm saying he's throwing everybody under the bus and he has ulterior motives here. This ain't to save Man United. Something else is going on. But ultimately, all comes back to the football club. You can start with Murta, you can go to Arnold, you can go to Woodward, but it comes back to the Glazers. If you want a different CEO who's a footballing CEO and not Arnold, if you want a sporting director that KJ just name dropped Luis Campos, none of these things will happen while the Glazers are here. That's the reality. So I just now judge things within the Glazer context just to save my own emotions.
And I hear you on that, and that's why we open up the lines on the terrace for different views, different opinions.
And that's why we call each other out in group chats.
Well, and he knows I'm only joking with it. But I agree with 80% that there are elements. Again, I like what Ralph was doing, calling out these players. I actually don't care what his motivation was, whether it was to help Man United or help himself. But I agree with him. There's some lazy, insubordinate sons of guns in that team that have thrown multiple managers on the buses, which need calling out and everything else. But equally, as you say, him not being good enough is not really a worry for me. Like, I've got predictions wrong before, or my mind's changed about certain people. I'm just concerned that we're not going to get to the level that I want us to under with Ten Hag because of those guys. But very quickly, another person wants to say something here. Safe is here.
Yo, what's up, man? I've been waiting for half an hour, man.
Yeah, listen, bro. Everyone has to wait, my brother. You ain't the center of the universe.
You're not even a member or a super chatter. So
I am a super chatter. I've been super chatting every single time.
Do you? I don't see your super chat. Oh no, you did what you asked. You did one yesterday. Asked if I was gay because me and
yeah. Have to go out with a man, and you should go out with a female, mate. I mean,
Colleen was there. Oh, fam, Colleen was there, bro. You know what I mean?
Yes, Colleen came last, man. I mean, look at Terry is single and he hasn't been in a relationship with a woman.
Wait, how do you know that?
Because his missus lives in Ireland and she left him. Why not?
Can I ask you this question? If I've not been with a woman since my ex-wife, how have I had 2 new children?
Well, you had a girlfriend, but I mean, yeah, I don't know.
It's such a weird thing.
Let him run with that.
What do you want to say about Rangnick leaving? What's your thoughts on Rangnick leaving?
Fantastic idea that the club is going towards a great direction.
Say that again. You cut off there.
It's a fantastic direction we're going towards. The club has made a great decision to sack Ralph. Because if you think about it, Ralph came here. He's the one who caused the problem. There's tensions, there's fights. Players don't want to work with him. The board members don't want to work with him. He has caused so much pain towards the football club. Now he's gone. Ten Hag came in. And Manchester United now can move towards the right direction. That's my view.
Okay, fair enough.
Because at the end of the day, listen, You can hire a person, but you don't know how that person is going to behave. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you're wrong. So you're right. So you feel like Ralph's the reason that Man United are in the position we're in now?
Yes, because at the end of the day, how can you call out the players? I mean, at the end of the day, if you hired me at the football terrace, or KJ was working at the football terrace, and KJ was
No, I do work at the football terrace.
online on Twitter and how you run the football terrace, are you not going to fire him? That's normal.
Please don't do that. I need this job.
Slagging me off. Partly. But if I was mistreating KJ, mistreating the staff, not paying people, and then I got called out, he's right to do it. Like if I pushed him to the end of his tether, I get that. What I do like about what you said there about Ralph being the reason we're in this position, you have just done what all Man United fans do. You forget about the previous 9 years. It's just like get rid of Ralph and it's all going to be okay because he's the reason.
No, I'm going to back Safe up. He's being consistent. All the people that complain about Mourinho throwing the players under the bus, Safe's keeping the same energy. Big up to you for keeping the same energy.
Do you know what? There are similarities other than moaning that a man went for his to see his baby get born.
Boy, that was mad.
Like Luke Shaw, did he call Luke Shaw a fat bastard or something?
No,
not quite, but yeah.
He called him brainless, basically.
He called him dumb.
Yeah, like Ralph didn't go at them levels, but I hear you. Listen, Safe, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say.
I just want to wait.
Good to see you and your eyebrows on the show again, my friend. It really is.
I want to make one more thing here. At the end of the day, when we bought in Jose and Louis Van Gaal and Oli, we had the other people that was working from Man United during the Fergie era, the sports, the CEO, the bank people. Now we got rid of them. We got rid of Ralph. Now we're bringing...
Get rid of that cashier.
So,
I hear you, Safe.
I don't understand where you're coming from. Why are you so pissed off, Mr. Flores? I mean, you shouldn't be pissed off here.
Why?
You shouldn't be pissed off. I mean, at the end of the day, you got better hairline. You're making better sense in football. You shouldn't be pissed off.
Do you know what it is, Safe? Remember, Terry used to be a banker, so the banker's getting fired, sort of.
Terry's actually secretly Glazers in. Terry's actually Glazers in.
Safe, you take care, my friend. You look after you and your two eyebrows, my friend. Take care, my bro. That's a big old eyebrows. Listen, everyone that's tuned in.
Wait. Can we get Safe? No, not Safe. Can we get Saint on? I need to hear what Saint's got to say. He's just lurking.
Who?
LFC
Saint.
Yeah,
I
Saint.
didn't see him there. Saint, what are you saying?
Is he still there?
Hello, darkness.
Yeah, sorry, I'm here. My mic was muted. Yeah. My brother KG. Oh God, love for getting me on. I won't take too much of your time. My thing went a bit fuzzy there. Is it? Did he say that Terry used to be? Was it a banker? He said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was something else because it went a bit cracky. Then. I get it. I'm only messing. Do you know? Try some bands, bro. Nah, you know what it is, lads. Very quickly. A lot of what I was going to say has been said in a different guise, but you see why, like, Liverpool, I say Liverpool and Man City really because, let's be honest, everyone else is irrelevant, but Liverpool and Man City aren't generally scared of the Ten Hag appointment because it's the same shit, just guised in a different, like, I don't think that, basically, I didn't see a lot of people have a lot to say when Ralf Rangnick was offered the Austrian job. I was like, hold on a second. Like, your club is, let me put it this way. Do you think the person that's responsible of your commercial activities in terms of like your Instagram users, your Twitter followers and all of that, do you think they'd let him have a part-time job in Lidl? Not a chance, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like they would never let him job share because that is where your owners, that's where their focus is on. Do you know what I mean? Like it isn't really to run the football club in its best to get success on the football pitch. So having Ten Hag, having anyone really, it doesn't matter. Like you said, Terry. How you could have an interview process for Ralf Rangnick, Klopp's grandfather, and not see all of these things for it to then subsequently come out later is outrageous. Like if Julian Ward was coming in and doing part-time and flipping Asda, like I would have. There's so much wrong at Man United that it needs someone, regardless of if you're doing 12 days a year. You have to be obsessed. You have to be obsessed with getting your club back to the pinnacle of where it needs to be. And
So no, I'm just agreeing with you. No, I completely agree with you. King Erik here says, so you're saying Erik Ten Hag would have left the Ajax team of 4 years in November, come to this mess? Well, he's come now. Yes, he wouldn't have won one more league title, but he's still come now. I'm talking break the bank. We should have gone after him, in my opinion. But saying, I do have something for you, actually. Have a little look.
Here we go. Oh yeah, I hear you.
Sorry, shameless. You're a brilliant team, and I've also just been sent this picture as well, like legit.
Oh no,
it's true. Is this real? Is this real? Someone just sent me this photograph. It's nothing like no one. Is this real?
Oh
no, it's not real. So you're
They've
taking
definitely
the piss,
spray painted the other two trophies off, haven't they? They've definitely spray painted the other two trophies off, haven't they? But someone just sent me that through. I couldn't believe.
I did think. I'm gonna be honest. I did think that sorting out a parade prior to it was a little bit
premature.
Yeah, a little bit premature. Do you know what I mean? And that's why obviously I'm at home and I'm not anywhere near it. But yeah, lads, thanks for having us.
Hey, no worries at all. Listen, everyone that's tuned in, a big thank you to each and every single one of you. Hit the like and the share button before you leave. Back later with more content for you. Until then, take care. Goodbye.